I'm Joe. I'm the head of business development of Naluri, and I'm here to talk to you about how to network like a pro. Specifically, how can we turn new contacts into meaningful connections? Before we get into the gist of it, let's start with the basics of networking and how your professional network plays an essential part to your career. Networking is the ability to build mutually meaningful relationships and leverages on the power of your social connections to tap into years of industry knowledge, problem-solving experience, and to broaden your horizons with new perspectives. In today's world, knowledge and skills alone aren't sufficient to get your foot inside every door. Trust plays a big role in decision-making, and it takes time to build trust with someone. It may be for a job that you're applying for or a multi-million-dollar deal that you're pitching for. Nothing beats a personal recommendation from someone trustworthy and reputable in society. That will put you in good stead. There will always be ideas and information that you don't know about. Hearing what other people are doing at their companies can also inspire you to bring new techniques or skills to your job. The larger your network, the more access you're going to have to different ideas, communities, organizations, and opportunities. And that can be the key to making huge strides in your career path. Networking can also increase your social well-being and help you to develop lifelong friends. We might be focused on the professional aspect of networking today. However, many friendships have started and formed from the workplace or at professional functions. So, now that we've learned what networking is and how important it is to our career and personal growth, let's find out the secrets to master the art of networking. There are three main phases of networking. The first phase of networking like a pro is to build and connect. One of the first barriers to networking is that people mentally evaluate if this is the right place to network. Would the audience want to know what I do for a living? Or wonder if I'm ever interesting enough to make a new friend. And that becomes a mental blocker for us to take that first step. You'll be more than surprised that most of us have the same anxieties in starting a conversation with a complete stranger. And all you have to do to break through from that is to walk up to the next person with a bright, warm smile and say, "Hi, I'm Joe. What's your name?" And I guarantee you the rest of the conversation will follow. Networking can happen anywhere and everywhere. Conferences, training, alumni events, sports activities, or even wedding dinners. Always be prepared for an introduction of yourself and make sure it's short and straight to the point. Never, ever turn an introduction into a sales pitch or an opportunity to talk about yourself for the next whole hour. The minute you see signs of people zoning out, looking at their watches, yawning, it's probably time to stop talking about your holiday trip 20 years ago. What you want to do instead is to actively listen and participate in that conversation. Make it a two-way interaction, ask questions, share a story that relates to your experience, or even tell a joke. There's so many things that people are willing to share on their first encounters. For example, what's interesting about their current work? What excites them about it? What are the views about the economy? What are the biggest fears in life? Or do they have pets at home? But remember not to overdo it, or you'll end up like an interrogation officer. Who should you include in your network? Absolutely anyone. Never judge a book by its cover because we don't know what we don't know. There could be always pockets of information or someone that they might know that could be interesting or helpful to you. And it's always an extra bonus when you find someone like-minded and end up as lifelong friends in your social circle. The second phase of networking is to maintain and grow your relationships. One of the key elements of nurturing a powerful network is to create long-lasting and authentic relationships. Instead of knowing many people simply by their names. Get to know your networks at a deeper level. It's not all just about work and what they do for a living and how they can help you, how they can benefit you. You wouldn't like it either if people approach you for your contacts or influence in society and couldn't care less about anything else that does not benefit them. People will appreciate your efforts to wish them during festive seasons. It can be Hari Raya, Chinese New Year, or even Deepavali. People will appreciate your efforts to remember their birthdays, work anniversaries, their son's graduation, or even when they got a work promotion. This also gives us a great opportunity to ask to reconnect over a meal or coffee and to celebrate the occasion. And speaking of meals and coffee, it always helps to connect on common topics and common interests such as sports, food, fan clubs, and associations. I have invited my clients for badminton sessions. I've also connected with people at over 100 different cafes across Malaysia since I started my career. And some of these contacts now turn to me for cafe or food recommendations. It's great to be able to nurture your connections and do what you mutually enjoy at the same time. Another key secret to maintain and growing your relationships is when you help your network. I'm sure all of us gets excited and self-absorbed when we meet like-minded people during the coffee meet. Never forget to ask, what are the current priorities? What are the needs? What are the challenges they face? And how you may just know of that something or someone that may be able to help. Help can come in many forms. Sometimes all we need is a listener, a piece of advice, or something as simple as, where can I take my kids for a holiday? The value that you provide determines the strength of that connection. You don't want to be seen as the one only asking for favors, but never giving back. The third phase of networking, like a pro, is activation. This is where the connection starts showing a potential for collaborations, partnerships, mentorship, and even introductions to connections that you have been looking for. This is where the seeds you have planted are now ready to be harvested. If there's ever a favor or help that you need to leverage from your connections, make sure that you have done your research and qualified that they're the right person to help. Be specific to your requests, as specific as you can. Now, remember, the world does not owe you anything, so don't make others do your homework for you. For example, what you don't want to do is to ask Encik Hafiz, who's the CEO of a multinational company, hey Encik Hafiz, I've been stuck in my current position at the company for 8 years and I'm looking for a mentor. Can you help me? Now, try this instead. Hey Encik Hafiz, I've noticed that you've started your career from a similar position that I'm currently in, and you've successfully climbed to the top. I would be extremely grateful if you're willing to share some of your experiences and some coaching tips on how I could progress in my career. See the difference? The first one is where you're trying your luck and you're being slightly vague about what you're actually asking help for. The second one is specific, and your connections are made to feel that they're in the right position to help, and that alone will increase your chances of getting help. One important tip in asking for help is to keep them posted on the outcomes, whether you've closed a mega deal or you've gotten promotion at work. Even if you didn't get the outcome that you wanted, don't forget to thank them and show that you appreciate that gesture of kindness. This takes the relationship to a whole new level, and people are more likely to continue helping you or have a very good impression of you. And you never know just when you might next need a referral. Lastly, I have 5 additional tips on how you can network effectively. Number 1, keep practicing. Explore different networking avenues or venues, social media platforms. Now, the trick to the trade is to keep initiating those tough conversations, and eventually you would get to iron out your anxieties. The process becomes smoother as you learn from your mistakes, and you would improve in your social skills. Number 2, first impressions and perceptions plays an important role. They are a reflection of your intentions, professionalism, and respect for the occasion. Ask yourself this: what would you think of someone who shows up at a leadership conference in his pajamas, or talks about his recent wild escapade and then turns to you for a job interview? Number 3, exchange context. When you've had a meaningful conversation with someone you've just met at a conference, Offer to share your contact details or your name card and ask for a way to reach out to them in return. It makes all the difference when you actually drop them an email or a text or a message when you have the opportunity to do so. How many of us here collects the name cards that never sees the daylight ever again? Number 4, stay open and curious during conversations. Keep a healthy balance between sharing your views and listening to others, and try not to overpower them. As much as we feel that we have something important to share, we need to provide that comfortable space for them to share about their views and perspectives too. And the last but not least, number 5, adopt a giver's gain mentality. Think of ways to add value to that connection meaningfully and how you're able to contribute and grow your network. Eventually, you'll find that people will start reciprocating and start giving back to you. We have now come to the end of the session, and I hope this has been helpful to you. If you're looking for more tips and advice on building your network and growing your career, you can log on to your Naluri app and reach out to your career coach. Thank you for joining us today. I look forward to your questions in a live Q&A.